December 5th, 2016. This is The Weekly Show with your host, Lorne Riseley.
Hello and welcome to the first episode of The Weekly Show. I'm your host, Lorne Riseley. Yes, this is a glass of scotch, and yes, this is the first foray into what will hopefully be a series of shows that allow me to cut loose a little bit, tell you how it is without worrying about appealing to one side or another like I do in my podcast. Yes, it's a bit of a blatant rip-off of a show that you might have heard of called The Daily Show in America, but this is YouTube! Originality has no place here. Hopefully I'm going to have a little bit of fun with this. Try and speak about things that I'm passionate about. Things that I think people at home, you guys, the people that watch my show, hopefully for the entertainment value, but more so because you guys know one thing, if only one thing about me. I'm an overthinker. I think about things that no one should or will think about. Why? I don't know. It's been kind of part of my DNA ever since I was very, very young. Point being, I hope that some of my quirkiness and some of my anger can be used in this format slightly better than the podcast to a certain extent, because hopefully in that sense my ideas can be a bit simpler, they can be a bit dumber without being overtly dumb, and hopefully more to the point, they can be entertaining. I hope that these shows start getting more entertaining, that people start chuckling to themselves when they watch the fucking things. Alas, there's only so much I can do to be funny and have charisma when I have neither trait. Anyway, to the point of the show. Like I say, this show I came up with as a way of emulating and paying homage to a show that I've been a fan of for maybe 2 or 3 years. The Daily Show was something that I discovered kind of late on. It was actually something that I didn't pay too much attention to for a long time until I gave it a try, and ever since I did, I've been a massive fan. Why? Because they have a very similar take on the world to what I do. Both hosts, Trevor Noah and Jon Stewart, but two of the most impressively articulate and well-considered gentlemen on the planet. Now, why do I want to do a show where I talk about things like this? Well, because I like reviewing things, I like gaming, I like movies, I like shows, but seldom do I have the opportunity to debate things with people and hopefully get a true sense of what people are thinking, and so rarely do I actually have the opportunity to express my views and opinions in a format that I think is conducive to hopefully making a difference. Now, this was no better evidenced than what is the inspiration for this show. A few days ago, I posted something on Facebook as a response and a reaction to something that I saw on YouTube that I took a bit of an issue with to a certain extent. Not so much in the sense that I was kind of annoyed with it. It was kind of a typical thing. For whatever reason, I don't like ranting on Facebook or Twitter. For any of you who want to know why, a few years ago I had a breakup and I took to Twitter like a I imploded to the point a close association at the time, Mr. Daniel Smith, you know who you are, commented, dude, you really shouldn't be imploding like this on Twitter. Okay, he might have a point. So since then I try to be a little bit more moderate in some of the things that I say and do, especially online, because I think online the temptation is that there's a degree of ambiguity, there's a degree of anonymity that being online grants you, and this is what this show is primarily to try and circumvent. I want to give a face to my voice. I don't want to hide behind a computer spouting exposition, spouting all that I should have the balls to say to someone's face, and so I'm on camera. I know, I'm not happy about it either, but apparently a Facebook post that was more than a paragraph long was too much for people to read. And the point I wanted to make on this inaugural video is I'm scared for humanity, for society, for people. I've recently become a father. I did a podcast about it. Go check it out. It's not bad. It's pretty good if you ask me, and I'm just the host. What do I know? Anyway, I posted on Facebook. My main gripe with society these days is simple. We all hate each other, and I don't know why, because it makes me sad. This was about a video on The Daily Show, Trevor Noah hosting a guest by the name of Tomi Lahren, who is to Republicans and conservatives in America what Boris Johnson is to sanity. He's just crazy. And watch him become leader of this country one day.
I was pleased to see that you've called me a blonde-haired mop in the pages of the... well, a mop is what I am. Well, if I'm a mop, Dave, then you are a broom. A broom that is cleaning up the mess left by the Labour government, and a fantastic job you are doing. And I thank you.
Circumventing back to the point, it was a rare opportunity for me to see something that I seldom see in society these days, which is bigotry and racism held to account. Now, unfortunately, you can't hold all racists and bigots to account in the same place. There isn't a courtroom in the land big enough. However, on this particular occasion, a 24-year-old blonde who likes to pretend she has an informed opinion on things.
Please tell me how you're oppressed. Is it because the black unemployment rate is double what it is for whites, or the homicide rate, or the dropout rate, or the percentage in minority communities on food stamps? Well, we've had a black president for almost 8 years now. Maybe he failed you. We also have a black woman in charge of the Justice Department. Maybe she failed you too. Or maybe it's the liberals, your saviors, which have run your communities into the ground. Where does the buck stop? When will those in black communities take a step back and take some responsibility for the problems in black communities? Because it seems to me blaming white people for all of your problems might make you the racist.
Was brought onto a talk show and eviscerated verbally. Now, he did this in a way that I thought was well considered, classy, and highlights a lot of problems within society and politics in general. Namely the fact that people refuse to assume accountability for the goddamn words out of their mouth, but are happy to reap the rewards and benefits for spewing such heinous things. Now, the post, which you can find on my Facebook page if you want to check it out, goes into some detail as to why I thought this was, number one, a worrying thing to see, but number two, also asked people to take into consideration the problem that I think society faces and doesn't really deal with, which is, why are we fighting? All the time fighting, all the time with the fighting. I mean, you know, can't we all just get along, you know? Here, have some. This is Jack Daniel's honey. Trust me, if you have a sip of this, you don't want to fight anybody, man. You just want to sit and chill. It's all good, baby. That's a free plug for Jack Daniels if anyone's watching. Children, drinking is bad. Anyway, on this post, I tried to make a point of saying, look, it's not the argument that's the best. It's not the argument that's the point. It's not the winning of the argument or the debate that's the point. Winning an argument is only relevant in relationships, and only notable if you're a guy and you win. The reason I say this is because I think people lose sight of the point of things, the point of arguments and debate, and that's to find a solution, to build a consensus, to build towards a solution to a problem. And I think these days people get too wrapped up in just winning the argument without actually wondering, well, what happens once you've won? People are very quick to criticise these days. They're quick to lend their boot in, to go in for a tackle, leave the boot in. And the reason why I wanted to highlight this is because I made a point to a friend of mine the other day that I really wish that people would lend their efforts to a solution rather than debating the merits of each side of an argument, or even as a compromise. Instead of picking a side in the argument, why not try to see the merits in both and work towards a common consensus? Then we all win. And isn't that ultimately, at the end of the day, what we're supposed to all be doing, working towards a common consensus? I mean, personally speaking, I'd love to get along with everybody, but I get along with nobody. I'm abrasive to the nth degree. Why? Because I like provoking a reaction in people. I like poking the stick at the bear and seeing what happens. That's not a good trait, I realise this. And it's why I don't have many friends, and the friends that I have, I'm still trying to lose. And mark my words, a lot of you that consider me a friend, one day I'm going to find that button that makes you never, ever, ever want to reply to my friend message requests or come round to my house and play Halo or FIFA. One day. Till then, you're welcome to come round anytime you like. Point being, if you see an opportunity to make an argument, what I wanted to say in this video to kind of shorten down the, make it easier for you to digest, because like I say, go read the post. I don't know how many times I have to say it, go read the post. Please make me feel important. Please, someone make me feel important. Anyway, just think before you have an argument and think about what the solution could be. If it's an argument about race or discrimination, how can we eliminate race and discrimination in a meaningful way? If it's about the outcome of an election or a result, it's an outcome based on a consensus. The majority voted and that's what they got. That's how democracy works. So you have to work within the confines of the democracy, or you do what I do. You have to realise that democracy is only given power by people. Take away the people, no longer has any power, and the establishment has to reconsider its options. I know, right? People power actually being used for something beneficial. Who'd have thought it? Anyway, this concludes the first segment of the show. Yeah, there's going to be 2 segments. Why? Because I want it to have a nice formal news thing, hence why the desk, and hence why the pen, and hence why the suit jacket. I know, snazzy. Anyway, the second section is... sorry, that's just my balls. Who'd have thought they dropped finally? The second section will be coming up in a second, but first I want to kind of give a shout out to other YouTube channels. I was surfing recently to try and find some support and some advice and some tips from other YouTubers, and I noticed tons of channels that only have a couple of views like mine. And I want to try and help promote. If I can't get past 20 subscribers, then I'd like to think I'm going to help some other people by channeling some of that to other people. So on this episode, on the inaugural episode, I'm going to give a shout out to the person who's probably given me more support than anyone else in terms of his contribution to the show and also his support of the show. A guy called Robert. You crazy bastard, I can't wait for you to come and host another show. But in the meantime, take a second to check out some of the stuff on his channel. Here we go.
Hello, it's me. This is Rob, also known as Banhead, finally appearing on camera. I am joined today by a special guest that does not want to be put on camera, so I will not put her on camera. The only sign to show that she is here is this overinflated hand. Say hello, special guest. There you go, special guest. So today we've got a slightly different video from the original Transformers format. This is going to be a fact video about The Walking Dead, something that me and my special guest here are very passionate about. Let's crack on!
The Walking Dead Season 1 premiered on October 31st of 2010 and lasted for 6 episodes, and is based on the comic book series of the same name, written by Robert Kirkman.
The character Daryl Dixon, played by Norman Reedus, and Mel Dixon, played by Michael Rooker, never appeared in the original source work. Today they are the 2 most popular characters on the show.
The word zombie was never used in the entire season. Names such as walkers and geeks, and in the case of the CDC, test subject was used instead.
When Michael Rooker, Mel Dixon, was shooting on top of the roof in episode 2, many Atlanta residents actually thought it was real, and a SWAT team were called in because they believed Rooker was a sniper.
The character T-Dog, played by Iron E. Singleton, was only supposed to be in 3 episodes of Season 1, but the character was so popular and likeable, the producers extended him for another 3 seasons.
During Season 1, Carl Grimes wears a t-shirt with the Science Dog logo on it. Science Dog is one of Robert Kirkman's creations from the comic book Invincible.
And there is 5 very random facts about the season 1, of The Walking Dead. I would like to thank my special guest today, the wife, for taking time out of her hectic day of doing mother things to come and be in my short video. And I will thank you all for watching. Like, subscribe, all that sort of shite. Oh no, I can't get monetized, I swore. Oh fucking bugger. Ah well. See you in the next one. Bye.
Welcome back to the second segment of the inaugural weekly show. Weekly show, sorry. Can't even pronounce the title. It took me a whole 2 days to come up with the weekly show name. And I stole it from someone else. Shows what originality I have. Anyway, in the second segment, it's going to be a lot shorter. It's going to be focusing on one point, and it's a point that was just literally, I was sitting watching television, and I'm a duddy now. Happened very recently, don't know if you noticed. Man, does it change your perspective on it. I now look at things from a much different set of eyes than I did 2-3 months ago. Even though I knew I was going to be a father up to 9 months ago, to be honest, I didn't really change my lifestyle or embrace fatherhood in the way that I perhaps should have until when I met the little one. Good Lord, it transformed you. Without gushing into the merits of parenting and what fatherhood is, it makes you look at things in a different way. It makes you look at things in a way that you used to tell people to shut up for looking at it in that way, because quite frankly I've become a bit of a fuddy-duddy. Case in point, am I the only one that really gets annoyed at the over-sexualization of pop music, movies, television shows, even cartoons?
Flex, time to impress. Come and climb in my bed. Don't be shy, do your thing.
I'm a 26-year-old single guy. You'd think the over-sexualization of society would be a great thing to a guy like me. Hey, banter! Oh, boobs, breasts and everything great. Not so much. The reason for this is quite simple. Give you a bit of background on me. I am a son of a mother and a father who thought it would be a good idea to name all their children with the beginning of the letter L, so we were the 5 L's. Lloyd, Lisa, Lyle, Larice and Lonnie! So, in early stages of childhood, for whatever reason, the marriage didn't work out, and I was raised predominantly in terms of my mannerisms, my beliefs, and my philosophical stance by my mother and my grandmother. Now, these were two very conflicting personalities, but the overarching theme of my formative years was respect for women. Now, this lends itself even further because someone made a really good point recently. In fact, I saw it on The Daily Show. Again, homage to the show that spawned this, and please don't sue me. Is the offence that guys sometimes take to the subjugation and objectification of women. Now, it's hard for a guy to understand this in the same way that it's difficult for me to understand what it's like to be prejudiced against for, let's say, the colour of my skin, because in terms of societal norms, I'm pretty much in that demographic that I can't be penalised for anything. There was a great scene in the Boondocks. If you've never seen it, it's a great anime show. You should definitely go check it out. Where two people bub. One is a black male in America. The other one's a white male in America. They get into a beef, and the white male turns around and goes, "Wait a minute, I'm white," haha, and just walks off.
Now let's see how a moment affects a white man.
Watch where you walking, bitch!
What did you... Wait a minute. I'm white!
Where you going? Don't you ignore me! This is a perfectly good moment to throw your life away!
Instead of getting into an altercation. Now, this is the consensus that it's hard to discriminate against a white person, because to be honest, it is. I used to work a job and I was called cracker, whatever you want to call it, and I've got to be honest, I wasn't in the slightest bit offended. I was more perplexed than anything else. Now, the point I just want to bring this back to is that since becoming a father, I do start to look at society through the eyes of, well, what do I want my daughter exposed to? What do I want to grow up to be aspiring to be? And I look at it from the perspective of what I looked at as a child, which is I look at television, that greatest of nurturers, the thing we all look at for guidance and for knowledge and for, wait a minute, we don't look for either one of those things. We look for entertainment, we look for idols, we look for people that everyone else gets behind, and then emulate them. Why? Because as a society, we are really dumb. Really, really dumb. One Direction is a thing. 2 phallic references in the same name, and yet we're all chanting f***ing name. Okay, Chris Brown, Justin Bieber, both famous, and the best excuse that I've ever heard from girls when I say, do you not get offended? The fact that, you know, they're both synonymous with violence against women?
Her injuries being described as horrific. What is that all about? What is horrific?
Well, we now know exactly what it was going on in terms of the injuries, and we put it up last night that law enforcement, and this is 100% here. They are describing the injuries as horrific, and I can be specific. She has 2 huge contusions on either side of her face, swelling, bruising, a busted lip, a bloody nose. She had bite marks on several of her fingers and her arm. She told police that Chris Brown struck her with his fists, and he has had some training in Taekwondo.
And it's always the same response. He didn't hit me. Now that was a joke in a Chris Rock stand-up, probably 10, nearly 15 years ago. But the thing was, when I used to say this thing at work to people who hadn't seen that stand-up, they gave the same response.
And you know what's wild? If you mention to a woman that the song is disgusting and misogynistic, they all give you the same answer. He ain't talking about me. Smack her with a dick, 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 and put a dick in the air, dick in the air.
I don't think that's hilarious, because we've changed. When I was a kid, there were people that you were told to not emulate because they were a bad example. Didn't matter how famous they were, it didn't matter how successful they were. If they were a bad role model, no matter what fame or success or charts position they were in, you weren't exonerated from your behaviour. It's no different from the rest of us. If I get caught using a racial slur at work, if I get caught objectifying a woman or being inappropriate, if I get caught being corrupt or whatever the case may be, I'm fired. I'm put on the street and told to fend for myself and then explain to the next employer why I don't have gainful employment right now, and expect them to believe me when I say just a difference in philosophies. That's what it is. I have so much to offer this company in terms of blah blah blah. No one's going to buy that. Yet in society and celebrity, we excuse these things now more than ever. And as a father now, I start to look at things and I weep, because no sooner than I was thinking about subjects to kick off this show, I was flicking through the music channels, and honest to God, it's really difficult not to look at the lifestyle, the way they dress, the notions that they put forward to people, and wonder how the f*** we got to this point. It's ridiculous. Now, maybe I'm just struggling to change with the times, because I've always had this somewhat conservative view that if you're in public, you should carry yourself in a certain way. Yes, at parties and stuff, I understand people need to get that stuff out of their system. We're human beings at the end of the day. Boobs, greatest things in the world, and who doesn't like a dick pic tweet every now and then? Okay, no one. Who came up with a dick pic tweet? It's the dumbest thing in the world. No one ever asked for it. No woman ever asked for a dick pic tweet, because it just doesn't make any sense. Oh God, society, you hurt my head. Anyway, what the point of this segment was, is to try and inspire people to review what it is that they sample in terms of entertainment and in terms of the people that they place emphasis in, because these people are only given popularity through you at home. Maybe not you specifically. My audience tend to be a few people that I know, and I know none of you like Justin Bieber, and if you do, I swear to God I'll find out and hunt you down. Coming back, I hope that at some point we become more mature as a society and realise the fallibility in these people and how they're not to be held as idols. Entertainers, fine. I can accept the fact that there are going to be people in entertainment that get away with things that normal people don't. I mean, Michael Jackson died scot-free. I know I shouldn't be mocking Michael Jackson. My mother's a massive fan, so I have to. It's kind of a thing now. Anyway, people, it's never too late to examine what we consume in terms of entertainment, and to maybe take a step back and decide that we don't want to see women in bikinis in every music video we have. Best example I can give, what happened to Bruno Mars? I remember when he was singing songs about how he broke up with his girlfriend and how beautiful she was.
When I see your face, there's not a thing that I would change, 'cause you're amazing, just the way you are.
2 hours later.
So
second verse for the hustlers, gangsters, bad bitches, and your ugly ass friends. I cannot preach, I cannot preach. I gotta show them how a pimp get it in.
Now, he's a pimp! He's a pimp! He says it in his most recent video. How? How did that happen? He's gone from wearing straw fedoras to baseball caps, and he's gone from wearing Hawaiian shirts to, well, Hawaiian shirts, but with loads more bling. Why? Because it's what he thinks that you guys consume. Now, come on. You're better than that. You're classy people deep down. You all buy Ferrero Rochers at Christmas, so I know there's something classy deep within you all. And maybe you all don't have the class to enjoy a nice straight Jack Daniels, but that's why I'm here, to class things up. I love scotch, or bourbon. I won't actually drink it now because I don't know what restrictions there are on YouTube when it comes to alcohol and consumption. Anyway, point being, thank you very much for watching the second segment. 20 minutes long, I know it's a bit long, but like I say, I just felt like the podcast weren't doing it for me. It's a bit too formal. The newscaster desk, I liked the look of. I wanted to play around with the aesthetics in a new studio. I know, it's nice. In the meantime, thanks a lot for checking out this episode. Hit me up with any suggestions for any other shows that you might like to see in this format. Reviews will stay the same. This is just me indulging myself in my own opinion because I don't really have anyone to back and forth with. But thanks very much. Please like, share, subscribe. Send me ideas. Send me hate. Do you know what? If you don't like the video, hit that dislike button for me. I like dislikes as much as I do likes. It gives me something to work with. Also, the Halcyons. I'm running out of ideas, so if anyone wants a really big, long video on something, send it to me. Like I've prefaced at the beginning of the video, I have a fuck ton of stuff. Give me something to do. That wasn't too bad, was it? Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you next time on the next weekly show with me, hosted by Lorne Riseley. That was terrible. I'm going to have to think of a better way to outro. Cut to black!